Amazing. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for being here. I am so excited to be delivering this. I feel like I have a little bit of tears in my eyes, but it's all good. Okay, I appreciate your time. I know time is our most valuable commodity, so I want to deliver this to you. Let's try to get it in at 48 minutes or at least under an hour, and then we can all just have I can have a nice relaxing rest of my night. So thank you for being here. And I think if you're here, like, you are ready for some kind of change in your life. And so I just appreciate you listening. And full disclosure, I am a little bit of a cursor. Most of you know I drop the F-bomb. So if you have children in the room, either earmuffs or maybe they want to go, or you put in ear sets, whatever, ear sets, they're not that, they're earphones. Okay, what are we talking about today? We're talking about intuition. I actually, like, when I had to sit down and think about a definition, I was like, how would you define it? But it's just like a knowing in your soul, a knowing that kind of defies logic and defines, like, even reality sometimes. So it's become my mission in life is to connect to my intuition, and I want to help others also connect to their intuition, because it's such a powerful tool, and we start to realize, like, what we are capable of when we are in alignment, when we are connected to our higher source or intuition, whatever you want to call it. Like, that's when the fun of life starts to happen. That's when we can start to create magical things and really, really big change. So whether you're not, like, you're here, I wanted huge change in my life, but that might not be for everybody. So you might just want a different job, or, to create more income, or to live more freedom. Whatever that is, like, intuition is going to be your key to get there. It's impossible to not create a life of deep fulfillment and peace when you are aligned with your intuition. I know that. I'm living proof of that. So if you're ready to make a change, whether it to be like relationships, stepping away from a traditional 9-to-5 job, just having more peace in your life, more fun, like, intuition's the hour. Intuition is the answer. Okay, so let's jump in. Shake it off a little. I'm going to get a little centered, big, deep breath. Okay, so I just want to start by telling my story. 5 years ago, my life looked and one more housekeeping. For those who are on the live, I do not have the capability to read chat and stay focused. So if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. Definitely, I'll look through them over before we end today. But yeah, I got to focus on today. And also, and I wanted to say this, like, when I was envisioning this masterclass, I'm like, oh God, I got to do a PowerPoint. I got to do this. And they all felt so, like, not good to me. Like, so I'm like, this is different. I'm not doing a PowerPoint. It's just me and you for an hour. We're going to talk about this. So back to my story. 5 years ago, my life looked very, very, very different. I was $100,000 in consumer debt. Oh my God. When I had my credit card decline for parking, like $250, I knew I wasn't showing up in the way I wanted to in the world. I was 40 pounds overweight. I had disconnected relationships with pretty much everyone in my family. And I lived more in the emotions of fear, anger, resentment, shame than I ever did in joy and abundance and, like, lightness and everything like that. So I desperately wanted something. Even thinking about it right now, it's like, I desperately wanted something different for me and my children and my life, but I had no idea. I had no idea how to do it. And by the grace of Gus, God, universe, source, whatever that is for you, I found a mentor, and I signed up for network marketing. And all of a sudden, I'm surrounded by this community of people that is, like, totally into, self-development and making their lives better. I'd never been exposed to that before. And I was like, oh, and so I just started to follow the breadcrumbs down that path. I started to open myself up, not a lot, because I was still living in very dense emotions, but I started to just, like, kind of know there was possibility. I think possibility, if I had to explain it, I knew there was something. So anyways, 5 years later, I now have very healthy and fun relationships with all members of my family. I live free of debt fear, debt shame. I have total time, like total time freedom. I'm just about to retire from my job at 50. Like, I never thought that would be possible. And I've transitioned out of my marriage in a loving and conscious way. And all those things had held me back. But, like, it's possible to create change. But for me, it's like, it was my intuition. Without my connection to my source energy, man, I could have never have done these things. So how was it that in 5 years I could create a life of total time and financial freedom? And literally, I'm going to leave that sticky note off because it's fallen like 3 times. And I used to have a teacher that says, leave it on the ground because it won't fall again. So Miss Friesen, grade 4, she was not nice. So what changed? Like I've said about 5 times already, my connection to my higher self. So whatever you call it, universe, Allah, God, infinite wisdom, connecting to our intuition is truly our North Star that will guide us to the life that we deserve and desire. So we've always been trained to look outside of ourselves. Like I've gone for happiness for other people, for peace and security to other people, for I don't know how many times I've been to tea readers, psychics, tarot card readers. And that whole time that I was looking for the answers to my life from an external source, I actually had all the wisdom within me. And I'm not special. You have the wisdom in you, and we all have it. And it's just being open to being able to connect with it. So where am I here? Yeah. Okay. So the intuition is our ability to know something without any logic or reason. How many times have you, I remember one time I was walking Panama Flats, and I'm walking and some reason I'm like, I need to go home. And I turned around, and I had gotten home, and Raymond had come home with a box of groceries and put it on the stove. And without him knowing, he actually turned the stovetop on to high. And as I got in, I could smell. And if I had not turned around, our house would have burnt down. I didn't know I was listening to my intuition. I had no idea why I turned around, but it always is a whisper. And it's a whisper, and we have to just be quiet and open to hearing it, because what I'll share later on is when you don't hear the whispers, then, it's like a little tap on the shoulder, and then it's like a punch in the gut, and then it's a full-on semi-truck taking you out from the side. So it's like life is better when we listen to the whispers. Okay, so one time I was listening to something, and I have no idea what it was, but it was like I had this aha moment that us, anybody in the human, form, we are made out of the same energy that creates universes. Let that sink in. Like, that's fucking crazy. That's crazy that I am created from the same energy that creates universes. And once I knew that, I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to play your game. I'm going to play your game, and I'm going to see what that can be like. So I just became a student of the law of attraction. Everything I started to learn was how I was attracting the crap into my life, and how I could show up differently. Okay, so I didn't even know there was natural laws. I didn't even know there was laws of the universe. Legit. There are many that I've learned. My favorite is the law of attraction. And I just learned last night when I Googled law of attraction, kind of sweaty Betty up here. Wow. There's 3 parts to it. So the one that I just love is like attracts like. Like we always think positive and be happy and all that stuff. But what I learned, but because of how I was actually feeling, that I wasn't vibrating. I wasn't in the emotions that I could attract really awesome stuff. Okay. We can't deny the laws of the universe. It's quantum physics, maybe in the 40s we could have denied there, but quantum physics has so much research, so much science behind that. If you aren't knowing the power of our connection to source energy, start to learn it 100%. Okay. Yeah. we're mostly made out of matter, and there's a huge part of us that is non-physical, and having direct access to that connection is like really the key to what made my life like peaceful and happy and clarity. And so what did I do? I started to really, really pay attention to how I felt. Because like I said, you can be positive, you can be like trying to think happy, but if in your subconscious, and if your beliefs are really that you're unworthy, that you're ashamed, that you're afraid, you are going to attract that. Yeah, so we have program beliefs. These program beliefs came from like our parents, generations before us, the media, school. They've come from everywhere but our connection to source. So I was like, I had a thought there that I really wanted to say. Yeah, anyways. Okay, so I dive deeper into this, my program, discovery of your soul. But like we all have grown up with little t traumas. Big traumas are like horrible things, sexual abuse, a death of a parent. But, like when you grow up in little t traumas, it's easy to like discount that. Just like, oh, actually, I had a very good life. Like we always went on vacations. My parents were married. Parents being married are part of the little t traumas sometimes when they shouldn't be married. So it's like, from my beliefs, from my traumas, I held that I was not worthy. I held that I had, because I didn't finish high school, because didn't go to university. No, I did finish high school, barely, because I didn't go to university, because I didn't have an idea of what I wanted to be or a future like direction. I was like so ashamed of myself, and I was constantly vibrating in a low, dense like emotions. So there's the emotional ladder, something else I cover in my course. But when you're low, that you're attracting crap. When you're higher, you're vibrating at a higher level, you're attracting better things. So what I learned from the law of attraction is to follow enthusiasm, to follow your joy. I didn't even know how to do that. I had to make a list of things that I thought were fun, just so I could be like, okay, how do I find joy today? Hey, look at my Macklemore bobblehead. I was just singing and dancing to Macklemore. Something that brings me joy, singing and dancing. Like I had to make a list so every day I could flip to the back of my journal and say like, what can I do today? Like that's how disconnected I was from it. So, I started to do everything in my power to feel good and connecting to that source energy. So I had all this knowledge. I knew that I was like, non-physical source energy. I knew I was like the same energy that created universes, but like, I didn't know what to do with it. But because I had a community of amazing women, because I had a mentor, I followed the breadcrumbs and I started to be like, oh, I'll watch this YouTube video, or, oh, this book, like when you hear, like, for example, the book I'm reading that I've been reading forever, How to Do the Work. Sometimes when I'll say that on a live, someone will be like, oh, my friend told me about that book. Oh, those are signs from your higher self. When you see that 3, 4, 5 times, that is a sign. Read the book, watch the show, like call the friend, whatever it is that keeps coming up over and over again. That is your intuition. That is the whispering of your wisdom and your soul. And we just have to start paying better attention to that. So what I had learned was implementing a few disciplines consistently every day really started to affect big change in my life. Okay, so what I'm going to share with you are my 3 favorite tools. I cover pretty much everything that, like I look at my life now, how I developed the course, I look at my life now and I reverse engineer it. So like, what did I do? Like, yeah, I dealt with my trauma. Yeah, I changed my money mindset. Yeah, I did, I'm only talking about 3, but in discovering of your soul, I'm going to cover it all. So like I said, I've done a dozen of tools, and full disclosure, I'm going to tell you these things and you're going to be like, what? That's it? There is no secret pill. There's no magic bullet. It is consistently showing up, doing something every day. Some days you do more, some days you don't. But it's like taking the step forward. Once I went to therapy, and she's like, listen, change, good or bad, the brain always like is like, even good change. She's like, you have to trick your brain by taking the next smallest step. Like, I wanted to transition out of my marriage, but that felt such a big step to me. What was like one thing that I could do? One small step. Showing up every day, doing these small steps will eventually bring you to where you want to be in life. Okay. First tool I actually ever implemented, and this is the one that most people just have so much resistance to it, and is meditation. I talk to a lot of people. I have to take a sip of water. Let's all take some water. Let's all take a water. Water's good. Helps our brain, helps everything. Have a deep breath. Okay, so this was, I talked to a lot of people and I'm like, but do you meditate? And they're like, no, I can't. Oh my God, I'm the worst meditator. I can't do that. Yes, your brain is going to fly all over the place. I like to have what I call a popcorn brain. I actually think maybe I have ADHD, but it's like, when a popcorn, or it's in the microwave or it's on the stove and it's like really popping and it's like, pop, 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 pop. That's my brain. That's my brain. My brain has 1,000 tabs open all the time. And meditation, it's like, when it stops popping and it's like, pop, pop, the last kernels are just popping. That's my brain on meditation. And it feels so much better. So yes, and you will feel frustrated and you will think you're doing it totally wrong and you will second guess yourself, but I can't even tell you how important it is. Okay, so why meditation? Because it quiets the chitter chatter in your head. Think about my brain and popcorn. I can't hear my whispers and the wisdom of my soul if my brain is constantly in like high drive. It's just unfair. I don't want to live like that. Well, I don't live like that anymore. Okay. Yeah, this is the one thing that affected the biggest change for me. So why? Quiets the chitter chatter in your head. You're going to have more clarity. It slows the popcorn brain. And it's like a huge, 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 huge key to managing stress. So a couple of things I want to talk about. And it stops the spiral of emotion. Okay, let's talk about stress before. There was a time in my life that I had worked at one time 2 or 3 jobs, and I wore the badge of busy like it was a Purple Heart. I wore it with honor, man. I'm like, I'm so busy. Oh my God, I'm so busy. Oh yeah, I'm going right from this job to this job, and I got to work to midnight. Then I'm up at 5. I don't know why I fucking thought. Well, it's probably because the society just glorifies that, and it's bullshit. But that busyness. And we're talking about how when you don't hear the whispers of your soul, you just get a tap and then a punch to the gut and then a semi truck takes you out. Well, I had a semi truck take me out and I had a series of head injuries in a span of a month or something. And I was out. I couldn't do anything for 6 months. It was a very dark time in my life. By the grace of Gus, I found myself into like a WorkSafe BC rehab program. And it's there that I started to slow down. I started to meditate because you had to. They actually made you. And I'm like, you're not making me meditate, but I hated being in that program so long. And if you meditated, you could go into a quiet room. So I just kept going into the quiet room. And then I'm like, fine, I'll fucking meditate. And then I would have enough awareness when I'd be at home and I'd be like angry because I used to be a very, very angry person. My family would be like, don't you need to meditate? Because it just stops that spiral of whatever it is, anger, whatever. So I just loved it. Yeah. Okay. And another thing I used to do before I meditated is I would go to bed, and I think many of us can relate to this. When you lie down, it's like slowly at first, but it's like, and it's like, I don't even want to say it out loud. I'm going to knock on wood, but I would like envision Joseph getting hit by a car. Why would I do that? Because it was my biggest fear. And I was so used to like needing that, like, I don't know, that I had an addiction to like shitty thoughts. And then I'd be like, it's to the point where I would cry, like my son is gonna get it, like crazy. I made it all up in my head. And then not only, so your brain doesn't know the difference between something actually happening or you thinking it, right? So if I'm thinking horrible thoughts, my body is still releasing cortisol. It's still like in a fight or flight. And it's like, I'm going to bed with all those fucking stress chemicals racing through my body. And then I think I'm going to have a nice restful sleep and wake up refreshed. No, meditation was the key that I could like, now poof, I lie down 3 minutes, I'm out. My brain is so chill. We are like, let's go dream. Let's go dream. Okay. So how did I do it? How did I? Yeah. Okay. So there's 1,000 ways to meditate, and I am not an expert. I cannot teach you how to meditate. I can only promise you that meditation is going to change. If you're new to it, a guided meditation is really good because at least you have something to focus on. Sometimes I just literally like in, out. And if you just like literally follow your breath in and out, and you say in and out, you can't focus on anything else. And so you have to slow your mind down and be present and just like start to chill really. Okay, so don't overcomplicate it. And this is my new saying: love yourself enough. So whether it's love yourself enough to give yourself 5 effing minutes every day to calm your mind, or it's love yourself enough to eat an apple and a date instead of a chocolate bar. I say that from personal experience because I choose every day to eat an apple and a date instead of chocolate chips or banana chip muffins. Love yourself enough to find 5 minutes. And if you can find more, do more. 5 minutes, bare minimum. And then you're going to, eventually do more. And then you're going to eventually feel better, and you're going to eventually feel better. So that was the first thing that I ever started to do. And I was like everyone else, super, super, super resistant to it. Okay. So the second tool that I just love, this is by far my favorite tool, is gratitude. Why do we do gratitude? Because it brings us into the present moment. And you actually physically cannot think horrible thoughts, be in dense emotions, fear, shame, resentment, anger, and be in a state of appreciation and gratitude. So that's like just science. Okay, we don't know. And it also puts things in perspective, right? Like you think you're having a bad day, and then you're like, well, I'm grateful for the food in my fridge, and I'm grateful for my warm, safe house, and I'm grateful for my comfy bed and my comfy pillow, and I'm grateful my family's healthy. Like right in that, I have literally everything. All my basic needs are met in there. And to remind yourself that every day is super, super important. It makes us feel happier. And it actually, there's a biochemical change in our body when we start to think happier thoughts. This isn't just me like, I love gratitude. It's like, follow Dr. Joe Dispenza. This is science. This has been proven, and it's amazing. Okay, so the first time in my life I really embraced gratitude was, it must have been 2018, 2019, 2019. Life shut down in 2020. Yeah. Okay. So 2019, I'm like, this is when my credit card got declined for parking. And I'm over in Vancouver because Joseph's going to this soccer camp, and I'm trying to refinance our mortgage. And our bank, who had our mortgage, is saying no because we're trying to roll all this debt into the mortgage. And I'm like, oh my God, what the hell? I can't get our mortgage refinanced. And Joe comes home from the first day of camp, and he is lit up. He is so excited. I'm like, dude, what? He's like, they asked me to go to France. They want me to travel to France with them. And I was like, I can't pay for France. And I had been fostering this idea in my kid's head that you dream of something, you can manifest it, you can make anything happen. And then he did. And I can't do it. And so then I'm like, okay, gratitude. Okay, gratitude. I'll play your silly little game. I'm going to be fucking grateful for everything. And I'm going to, because I lived in so much fear that I just needed a way to just step away from that fear and be grateful. And so, I mean, I don't know if you know, but we went to France. The mortgage got refinanced. I no longer have debt. It's it's amazing. So how do we do it? How can you do gratitude? It's like my favorite thing to like find different ways to do gratitude. And for those of you who have children on here, that's like the greatest gift you can give your children. We love to do gratitude ABCs. Joseph's 14, but we literally just did it 2 days ago. You go through the alphabet and you take turns. So A, I'm grateful for apples. I'm grateful for Anna. I'm grateful for, and then B, C. And he's 14. So obviously when I say, let's do our gratitude ABCs, he's like, nah, cringe. But man, by D or E, he's a different kid. It's so amazing. So you can start a journal every day, write down what you're grateful for. I used to do that. My mom would be like, gratitude's the key. And I'd be like, yeah, okay, mom, gratitude's the key. But like, it really is. So you could do a gratitude journal. Where am I? I have gratitude rants on my phone, and set an alarm every morning, 5 minutes, and I just rattle off things I'm grateful for. I love that so much. And anyone that wants that template, whatever it is, just reach out to me and I will happily share it with you. And you can just fill in, I'm so grateful for the clients that I attract. Like that might not be relevant to you, but it's like, I'm so grateful for music and the beach and the sun on my skin, the fact that I live close to beaches and forests, and like you can actually feel your heart expand. You can feel yourself like just elevate. And it's like amazing. I love it. And I just also want to say this, that all of these tools, they're what we have inside of us. We don't have to pay anything for them. We don't have to go anywhere for them. We are in control of how often or how little we do them. And so do the fucking gratitude. Yeah. And then I also, when I'm out walking, like I'll either say my affirmations or I'll just say gratitude. Like, thank you for the river. Thank you for the trees. Thank you for the air. Thank you for the birds singing, like so much. So like, I really, really, really encourage you to find a fun way to bring gratitude into your home. You guys, we are going to finish way early. This isn't going to be a 60-minute masterclass. You're welcome. Okay. So, third tool that I absolutely now adore, and I've literally only started it since August 31st. I had to look today to see when I started doing it consistently. So September, October, November, December, January. So 5 months. I've been doing it consistently for 5 months, is journaling. And I was so resistant to journaling. And it was one of those things that I had heard the signs. Like I'd be like at my naturopath and she's like, well, just journal how you feel about that. I'd be like, okay, I don't journal. Or it was like everywhere, be journal. And then when I started reading this book, How to Do the Work, and what I've learned is, because of the little T traumas in my life, I just have never created safety. And I didn't have trust in myself because I was constantly breaking the promises to myself. And so this woman said, do something for 30 days. Do one small thing for 30 days and see how it changes your life. And then her thing was like, journal. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I hear you. I'll fucking journal. So I bought a cute little journal with hummingbirds on it. And I started to journal following her prompts. Why do I think journaling is so powerful as a tool to change your life and get in more connection with your intuition? Because number one, it organizes our thoughts. And as I've said, with my popcorn brain, I need to organize my thoughts. Brene Brown also says, like, when she writes books, I don't write a book, but she calls it, anything you write is, you always have a shitty first draft where you just dump everything onto a piece of paper. Your journal gets to be your shitty first draft, right? It gets to be like, this motherfucking, so pissed off at this. And, you know, like get it out of you, just get it out and get it onto paper. And then you can almost see how ridiculous it is that you were so upset about that. Or you're like, oh, maybe that isn't that bad. Or it gives you a little bit of a different perspective. Hand to paper is so thought to hand to paper is so much different than just thinking it or talking it. It lands in a different way. So, I like it because I set my intentions every day and then I have a roadmap. So, you know, like yesterday I wanted to be focused. And so I wrote that in my journal and you write everything else. And then it's like when I'm scrolling Instagram, I'm like, this isn't focus. But without bringing attention to that, without like being like, yes, I want focus, it's easier for me to like steer off the roadmap of where I want to be in that day. So yeah, journaling was a real big thing for me. And it was, did I say it reduces stress? It does. And it was like I think I didn't journal because well, number one, I had a sister. So we probably always read each other's journals. So I just didn't trust that no one would read like my deep thoughts and fears and my honest opinion. But I eventually let that go and been like, okay, you want to read my journal? You're probably going to read things you don't like. So have at her. But it's the only place that I can just be honest and authentically me. And I don't need to like feel bad about thinking something. I don't need to feel bad about saying anything. I just can be honest. And that feels so good. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. What's the story I'm going to tell? Yeah, I had to build trust with myself. And because I had spent so long betraying myself. You know, I use journal prompts. So we can, so how? Let's go into the how. You can freestyle. I know people that are like 20 minutes. I write in my journal 20 minutes every morning. And I'm not like that, but you can do that. Just set a timer and write. I'm a very superficial journaler. So I would be like, it's sunny yesterday and Joseph has a soccer game tonight. Like such stupid things. Like who fucking cares? But once I started to get deeper and had prompts, like, so if freestyle is your jam, get a journal, set a timer, write, see what comes up. You could do the G's. So you can write 10 things you're grateful for. Then you cross off your gratitude and your journal in one. You can say 3 goals that you have for the day. So it's gratitude, goals, growth, and grace. 3 goals for your day: growth, name something, say something that you learned yesterday, and grace. Where are you giving yourself grace? What are you letting go of? Like, how can you forgive yourself? Anything like that. That's a good start to your day. Could you imagine thinking about things like that every morning? Before I journaled, I would just start my day. I wouldn't like lay the foundation of how I wanted to show up, what I wanted it to accomplish, nothing. But if you take that time and just sit in it and just be like, think, right, it's good. It's good. What else? Yeah. Okay. Ask yourself questions that you have the courage to answer honestly. I don't do this. I'm not here yet. You might be. I'm not. What's one thing I'm so fucking afraid of, but I know if I did, it would change my life? And just write it down. You don't have to act on it. Just write it down. Speak it. You're going to speak it into existence eventually. You know, like, oh, I don't want to say that one out loud. Okay, you guys get the idea. I can't think on the spot, but ask yourself a question that you have the courage to answer honestly. So journal prompts. Every day I write, today I am practicing focus. I am grateful for my ability to like say no to scrolling, my ability to stop scrolling when I'm doing that. And then what's another one? Today I am present and aware. So I'm present in like what I'm doing. So if I'm present, I know I'm scrolling and I'm aware of it. And so I'll just like make a different choice. And then change in this area will allow me to feel accomplished because I won't be wasting my time looking at things that really aren't making my life any better. And then today I am practicing when I become aware that I'm scrolling and stop. I'll send these journal prompts out when I send out the replay. And so, you know, I got them from the book, How to Do the Work. They really have changed my life. And every morning I'm like, okay, I gotta set my intention. And then I actually, you have to sit and think, what is my intention? How do I want to show up today? What do I want to accomplish? What's going to make me feel good at the end of the day when I go to bed that I actually promised myself I was going to do and I did it? What is that one thing? It's changed my life for real. And it's also like, in that changing my life, let me get into a better connection, a relationship with my higher self, with my intuition, because like we're in it together. We're like, okay, what are we doing today? What's it going to be? Yeah. So you have to be still and set an intention. Okay. Those are the 3 tips. Wanted to throw down a mofo there, but not appropriate in a masterclass. Oh my gosh. Okay. So going forward, what do you do? Like, I find that, when I do a training or I'm watching something, I'm like, yes, I'm going to do gratitude. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to journal. Don't overwhelm yourself. Take one thing. And if you're already, meditating, start journaling, start doing gratitude, do one of these tools, and for 14 days, just to see how it lands, just to see how you feel different. And, it is going to change your life. The trajectory of my growth and my transformation, it isn't like a it's like a I do my tools, I wouldn't do my tools. I do my tools in my morning routine and I wouldn't. It's just constantly up and down and up and down. But eventually, it's like a good stock market, it's going to go up. It's going to get you to where you want to be, but you're not going to get there unless you take some kind of action. Taking bold action is super, super, super scary. Super. I'm going to tell you that right now. But what I've learned is that on the other side of that fear, it's never as scary and as fearful as you think it's going to be. We have this ability to create these stories in our mind about what it's going to look like. When I started to transition out of my marriage, I had a million things that I was so, that's where I would drop an F-bomb, effing fearful about. Not one of them came true. And I'm like, okay, so my God, you're telling me that like all these fears I made up, they weren't even true. Okay, well now I can just take bold action in a million other places in my life. And then I quit my job. Oh no, I retired from my job because I will never do another resume or apply for another job again. So love yourself enough to take some kind of action today. And if you do, reach out to me and tell me about it. I'm sure that we are either connected on Facebook or Instagram. You must have my email if you got the Zoom link. I want to hear what you are going to do. What's the one thing you're taking away from this masterclass? Okay, so here's the deal. It's just journaling, meditating, and gratitude. It's not going to change your life. It's not going to change. I did more than that, and I did a lot for many, many years. So what did I do? I invested in myself. I hired coaches. I invested my time in being surrounded by a community of women who like have big dreams and like make stuff happen for themselves. I took small steps, and eventually all those little tiny steps get you to your destination, because your destination always feels like it's so far away. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. It's such a cliche, but it's true. So listen, if you're here, it's because like you are committed to, getting in touch with your intuition. And if you are here, you're probably in a place where you want to create some kind of change. I truly believe like all the pain and everything that I went through for the last 6, 5, 7 years, 50 actually, because my whole life I've struggled. It's like I was meant to shine my light bright, because I want to help people out of their darkness and shine their light, shine my light on them, because I truly believe that's like my mission. That's why I'm here in this world. And so that being said, if there's anything that resonates with you today, if you're like, yes, I want that too, I want you to reach out to me. I want you to book in a no obligation call. Let's talk. Let's see what's possible. I want to know where you are in your life and how I can help you. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Oh my gosh, 40 minutes. Now I got to go back and say it's a 40-minute masterclass, not a 60-minute. But listen, the sun's going to set soon. If you're on the West Coast, just get outside and breathe some real awesome fresh air. And I really, truly, truly thank you for taking the time to spend it with me tonight. Oh, I can check the chat. Hey, Rebecca. Oh my gosh, how did there get to be so many people? I thought I was talking to like 3 people. Oh my gosh, I love you guys all so much. I'm going to cry. I'm going to reach out to every single one of you after this. I better remember. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for spending your precious time with me. And yeah, we're all here to create like epic human experiences. And so if you aren't living in that, it's your time. It's your time to do that. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I can't wait to talk to some of you. I'm going to stop recording. How do you stop recording?